Hi everybody, welcome to my beginner's guide on how to be a better support player in Battlefield 5, how to play better at support in Battlefield 5. And I think the important thing to remember with Battlefield 5, with the different classes, is basically they're all guys or girls, in this case Battlefield 5, running around with guns shooting people. But within those classes we then have the specialities, and if you can understand what goals you should have as each class, not only will you help your squad mates and your teammates, you know, to capture objectives, to get more points and hopefully ultimately win each round, but you'll have more fun as well because you'll have a more varied experience, and when you get stuck against certain situations you'll be able to change to the class that best suits that particular situation. So what I thought we'd do is we'd talk about goals first, then we'll talk about loadouts, because I think loadouts are secondary to goals. If you can understand what you're meant to be doing, you can do it with pretty much any sort of loadout. Now, the first goals are your Battlefield goals. So your overall goals within Battlefield, to play better at any of the classes, you should try and spawn on and stick with your squad. And if you're the squad leader, give squad orders. If you're not the squad leader, follow the orders the squad leader gives. PTFO, you should always be trying to capture or defend objectives. Don't always use the direct route, so don't always charge from B to C, in a straight line. Go in an arc, so you're attacking from the sides. And although spotting isn't that powerful in Battlefield 5, you can still tap that right shoulder button to mark where enemies might be, enemies' vehicles, enemies' armour and aircraft. And although you can revive people, only revive squad mates when it's safe to do so. Otherwise hide and let them respawn on you in a few seconds. And I'll say it once again, PTFO, play the objective. That's what Battlefield's all about. Okay, so now, let's talk about the supports. For me, the two primary goals that you should always be trying to achieve. The first one is, you should always be moving with and trying to stay close to your teammates so you can resupply them with ammunition. Now you do this so that they can keep on fighting, whether that be on offense or defense, and they haven't got to disengage and then try and find an ammo dump or run over some dead bodies, that sort of thing. Remember, no other class can do this. As the support, you're the only class that can resupply your teammates and your squad mates with ammo, so you must do it. The other thing you should be doing, your other primary goal, is to repair tanks and armoured vehicles on the move with your repair tool, when you press down on the D-pad, so that your team's tanks and armoured vehicles can survive encounters with the enemy, they can destroy enemy armour, and they can support the infantry as they capture or defend objectives. Again, repairing tanks and vehicles and armour is the only thing you're the only class that can do that, so it's so important that you do it. Now, let's move on to your secondary goals as a support player. And these sometimes are the ones that you end up doing more often, because you don't always come across tanks and armoured vehicles, but you'll always be coming across people to throw ammo at, so keep throwing those ammo pouches out. Now, for me, your first secondary goal is to lay down sustained, accurate machine gun fire using your LMG or MMG, preferably from cover with your bipod extended, to suppress or kill multiple enemies. This means that your teammates and your squad mates can move from flag B to flag C, or flag C from C to D, because you're laying down this hail of bullets, because your LMG or MMG has lots of bullets in, it's very good at medium range, it's very good at suppressing people, and it will enable your friends to move along without getting hit too much, and it will make the enemies keep their heads down. And also, your LMG or your MMG has good penetration through things like wood and the occasional thinner wall. Your next goal is to build fortifications, stationary weapons, ammo and medical dumps, the tank resupply and repair stations, and do them quickly if you can, so that your teammates can better defend objectives. So especially on modes like front lines or breakthrough, where you're defending, or even in conquest you've captured a flag, put those sandbags up, dig those anti-tank trenches, build those anti-tank structures, build the ammo stations, build the med stations, and especially for the tanks they really need those repair stations, so get them built so they can resupply and repair themselves. Finally, you should really be thinking, I think, as a support player, about attacking damaging and destroying enemy tanks as well, because you have access to mines or the anti-tank grenade pistol, so that those enemy tanks can't then go on and attack your armour and your infantry. Because if that does happen, then your team is going to be at a disadvantage. Now, you're not the best at attacking tanks, because the weapons you've got aren't the most powerful, apart from the anti-tank mine probably, but you can do your bit, and especially if a tank is already damaged, you can definitely finish it off with sticky grenades and, as I say, with your anti-tank pistol. So, to kind of reinforce these goals then, make sure you do your battlefield goals, so spawn on and stick with your squad. Make sure you give orders, or you follow the orders that your squad leader is giving. Make sure you're always capturing and defending objects. Remember not to use the direct route, flank all the way round. Keep using spotting, even though it isn't that effective, and only revive squad mates when it's safe. Your two primary support goals are to keep moving with and stay close with your teammates and squad mates so that you can resupply them with ammunition. Again, you're the only one who can do this. You're the only class who can resupply ammunition, so you must keep doing that. You're the only class that can repair tanks and armoured vehicles, so again, you should be there supporting your armour so that you can do that as well. And then the secondary support goals, which again other classes can do, but you know, you're the best at doing it, laying down sustained, accurate machine gun fire. In this case I'm using the Bren, but with the German MMGs or LMGs, depending on how you think about them, you can go prone, you can deploy your bipod, and you can lay down a hail of fire. Or with some of the other weapons, which we'll talk about in a minute, you can really play almost like as an assault player as well. You should be building fortifications. You should be building stationary weapons. You should build those tank resupply and repair stations. So that helps your teammates defend or be safe from attacks from enemy armour, and then they can resupply themselves from ammo dumps and repair their armoured vehicles as well. And as I say, kind of finally, one of the other things you should always be doing, I think, is doing your part in attacking enemy vehicles. You always want to be thinking, right, armour is a massive danger. If there's a guy in a tank who knows what he's doing on the enemy side, they can rip through your infantry. So if you get the opportunity with either your mines or with your anti-tank pistol, you should definitely take that opportunity to do your bit against enemy armour and blow them up. So we'll just watch a little bit more of this gameplay, and then we're going to look at some loadouts that kind of give you an idea of maybe how you can set up your class too.
My hero.
Okay, so let's take a look at the support class and how you might want to set it up. So first thing to remember, a little tip is, remember you've got allied forces and you've got axis forces. So if you change your gun, your sidearm, your melee, or any of your gadgets on one, you've got to change it on the other. However, if you do customize your gun, that customization will go across to the other side as well. So to start off, let's have a look at the combat role. Now, we're only in the first kind of part of Battlefield 5, so we've only got 2 combat roles to choose from, and which you choose depends on what you do the most, to be honest. If you choose to be the engineer, you have the vehicle fixer trait, which means that you repair vehicles and build fortifications faster, and also you can fire from static and auxiliary vehicle weapons, they mean machine guns there, for longer before they overheat. So say you're on the top of a tank and you're blasting away with the 50 cal, you know, they slow down after a while and stop because they're overheating. That will go for longer. However, the combat role I choose to use is the machine gunner, because you have the bullet storm trait and the focus fire trait. So what that means is, when you're firing at enemies, more of them, they will be more suppressed. And suppression is when you get fired at. You don't see it that much, to be honest, anymore. But the screen goes a bit blurry, the sound goes a bit blurry, and it's difficult to hit enemies. And you'll also receive less of that. Also, I think it's really cool that if you do fire at someone and they do become suppressed, they then become spotted for your teammates to then pile in and finish them off. So I would say go with machine gunner. Now, here we go, the big choice. Which gun are you going to use? Now, this is really, I think, up to personal choice. The first gun you get in the game, the KE7 LMG, is a fantastic weapon. You could use this all the time. You don't really have to use any of the other weapons. And then depending on how you play it, you could then change the specializations. On my KE7, I go for quick aim, custom stock, ported barrel, so it recoils less horizontal, and barrel bending, so it's improved, so it's more accurate. But yeah, you can set it up how you like. The K7 is a very nice LMG. It's not too bad when you're standing up or kneeling down, and it's very good when it's on its bipod. Very, very accurate indeed. However, if you want to play more of I would say, a traditional support role in terms of suppressing fire, where you've got a gun that can unleash loads and loads of bullets without reloading, the Lewis gun is definitely worth looking at, and it is one of my favourites. That big 47 round magazine, pop a 3x scope on it, and it's very good at taking enemies down at distance, as is the Bren gun. Now, the Bren gun might only have a 30 round magazine, but it's a little bit slower firing, so those bullets, that magazine does seem to last a little bit longer, and I kind of like that quite a lot as well. Now, the MG34 and the MG42, the kind of German MMGs, belt-fed machine gun MMGs, these are devastating when you've gone prone, you've got the bipod extended, and you're blasting away. They've got 100 round magazines, and you can extend that as well. 50 on the MG42, but on the MG34 you've got a 100 round magazine, which can be made bigger depending on which specializations you use, and an incredible fire rate, 770 rounds a minute. You know, you can tear through enemies. However, the big disadvantage of these guns is that you can't aim down sight if you're standing up or kneeling down. You have to go prone to aim down sight, which means that if you run into somebody at short to medium range, you've pretty much had it, because they'll just aim down sight or hip fire you. Now, you can hip fire it, but the accuracy is terrible. So you could argue there's a place for the MG34 and the MG42 in specific situations, probably when you're defending on objective gameplay modes like breakthrough or frontline. Specifically breakthrough, actually, where you're where you're going to be defending on every single objective. The fact that you can tuck yourself in, go prone in the shadow of a rock or inside beside some sandbags, and then just rip through the enemy really fast with the gun, and they're good for that. Now, you may want to try out the shotguns. I don't like using shotguns in Battlefield. I never have, because I think a lot of the time you're engaging people at medium to long distance, and shotguns are go up short. However, the M30 drilling is very interesting because it has 3 barrels, one with like a normal bullet in, so you can engage people at distance, and then the 2 shotgun barrels, so that'd be good. I don't think that's very realistic though. I don't think many German or British soldiers have been using a weapon such as that. So personally, if I want to play as like an assault player, really, say we're playing Devastation and I really want to get in there with the assault players and with the medics on the objectives at the tip of the spear, then I'll use the KE7, because it's like a big assault rifle. It handles very well when you're standing up. It's very, very good. On lots of the other maps, though, where I'm playing more of a traditional support role, I really enjoy using the Lewis gun and the Bren gun. Probably the Lewis gun at the moment is probably one of a little bit more favourite gun to use. But again, so any of those three, the KE7, the Brain Gun, or the Lewis gun, I'd say yeah, you're be more than happy with. So sidearm, whatever you want to go with. I've gone with the 1911. With the my melee weapon, my British guy's got the cookery knife, and I think my Germans have got the elite combat dagger, so that's cool. Now, gadgets, you've got the ammo pouch and the ammo crate. The ammo crate works differently in Battlefield 5 than previous Battlefields. In fact, it doesn't automatically resupply people like it used to do. People have to interact with it. So I don't think it's as good. I would stick with the ammo pouch because you can throw it to people on the run, and you can just be constantly throwing ammo pouches out. It might not supply people to the same extent that the ammo crate does, but it's much more usable, and you'll probably end up getting more points out of it. And I think that the biggest problem people have is running out. Your assault players and your medics running out of machine gun or rifle ammo, and the ammo pouch is great for resupplying that. Your grenades, I think you start off with the incendiary grenade, but as soon as you've unlocked it, I'd say go for the sticky. It's all to do with that ethos of taking on tanks and armoured vehicles, doing your bit to help the assault class. So if there's a tank there, you can lob a sticky grenade at it. They take forever to explode, but if they do lots of damage. And then your other gadget, it's really, for me, it's between the anti-tank mine and the anti-tank grenade pistol. I've been using the grenade pistol for a long time, because again with Battlefield you tend to be moving around a lot, and there aren't that many maps, I don't think, really at the moment, where you have specific paths that tanks have to follow. If you remember from Battlefield 1, where we had some of the towns maps, I forget the name of the one that was in the town with the railway track running through it, and tanks would go along the railway track, and so what you do is you just put mines on the railway track, or on the bridges was the other classic one, and you can guarantee in a round you get some anti-tank mine kills. Although Devastation is similar to that, and you do get armor moving around, I don't know. I think the grenade pistol, the anti-tank grenade pistol, is a better option. Although you won't get as many tank kills, you will damage tanks more. But you know, see what you get. I mean, if you prefer to use the anti-tank mine. Now, if you do choose to use the anti-tank mine, you can use it. The best thing to do, I think, is to look on the map. I think, right, where a tank's going to go, and you put down a couple of mines there, and you leave them there for like 5 to 10 minutes until you see near that objective changing hands. If they haven't blown up a tank, then redeploy them somewhere else, because they may well have been destroyed in enemy fire or something like that. Or if you're feeling very brave, you can run up to tanks and either throw them down in front of them or throw them down behind them, so that they'll go off. In fact, I think if you tend to toss an anti-tank mine at a tank, it does tend to explode pretty quickly anyway. But generally, when you do that, you tend to die as well. So you know, proceed with caution if you use that. But for me, I would use the anti-tank grenade pistol. So there we go. That's it for me. And let's quickly change this back to what I really like. So I would like the Lewis gun. There we go. And that's pretty much my favourite support kind of setup. Machine gunner is my combat role. Lewis gun with the 3x sight on it. M1911 sidearm. Cookery. Anti-tank pistol. A grenade launcher thingy. Ammo pouches and sticky grenade. Right, there we go. So that's my guide to beginner's guide to how you could be better at playing support in Battlefield 5. Hope it's useful. Put your questions and comments down below, and I'll see you again soon.